Hello, guys. Thank you for being here. I am Ella Morello, and today I wanted to bring something really interesting that happened. I don't know if you know this, but I am the creator of the Portal of Self Transformation. And in one of the group question and answer, something really interesting came up. So what happened is usually like people get like the questions and we go there and we talk about it. And in that day, we could not leave from this one question of one person because everybody started to add into that question. And since I do not have the authorization of the people to use their image here, I have decided to try my best to, somehow give the insights that we had in that conversation. So I want to start by the question, and then I'm going to keep adding whatever came up. Okay. So the question was how to decipher if that was a sign from the universe or if it is myself trying to control my life. So that was a big one. And then she went on, okay, it's going to make sense in a second. And she's like, and I'm confused about the law of attraction because if I manifest what I vibrate, what happens if I am confused about which path to follow? So I want to invite you to try to follow my line of thought. So from the beginning, how to decipher if this was a sign from the universe or if it's me trying to control myself. So I'm going to give her example, okay? And you guys obviously probably felt that in some area of your life. Should I apply for that job? Should I stay in my job? Is this the right path? Is this a sign of the universe? The plant falling my head, what does that mean? Should I keep going or should I stop going? Right. So in her case, it was something more or less like this. She had wrote this thesis, right? And and everybody that reads this thesis say to her, oh wow, this is so interesting. You should use this because to write articles because this is really something um, new and awesome and you should share this with people. And then she was sharing with me that while she was actually writing that thesis, she got sick. She was extremely overwhelmed. That was super hard. And but then she gave the thesis, right, for her conclusion of the masters. Okay, after that, people start saying, write articles based on your thesis. And here she goes again, starting to write these articles. And every time that she shares the article, something bad happens, according to her. So, or the person got wrong. She's investing money for someone to exchange the person, blah, blah, blah. So she's investing money. That's how she feels. She's investing time. She believes that she might reap something out of this in the future. But as of right now, she's like, why every time I try to do something with this, things go wrong? And then she goes, universe, give me a sign. And then the Bible falls out of the the stand that she had there. And she's like, oh my God, that was a sign. But what is the sign? Should I go? Should I not? So let's go back to her question because we all probably felt that in some area of our life. How to decipher if it was a sign from the universe? Well, before I want us to start understanding one basic thing that happens to us humans, which is one of the biggest spiritual lessons we are here to learn is how to become self responsible. Somehow, during our walk as humanity, we gave our power to others. How, Ella? Are you nuts? No. We literally, there were a couple of rules set already that we don't question. So, for example, it's really not common that you try to understand your body. What happens if you're feeling bad or if you're sick? You go to a doctor. You're giving your power over your body to someone to tell you What's going on? And by the way, nothing wrong in going to the doctors. I'm just trying to explain what I mean by we gave our power away. Another way to approach this, uh, religion has made somehow us believe that our power is outside of us, right? We have to ask God, we have to pray, we pray for miracles, and so on. So where does but however, whenever we are in this religion part, we forget to understand that there is something that God gave us, which is called free will, right? So that means that somehow I have to decide the actions that I'm gonna take, right? So there is this part that we don't understand, which is there is no miracle if there is no action from us. If I want to get rich and I just go to the church and ask God for me to become rich, and all the other time I'm sitting on my couch doing nothing, what are the chances that I'm going to become rich? Right? So somehow we believe we don't have the power. We believe people can hurt us. Ella, people can hurt me. No, people cannot hurt you. People can do whatever action they want to do. And if that hurts you, that's on you. Because that person simply touched a trigger of a pain that you already have. And this is something that I understand it might feel a little strange to hear. But this is also so powerful because that means, wow, I'm not what happened to me. Because things are going to happen to me. People are going to do bad things towards me. People can hurt me. However, I am how I react, how I uh, go through that of what happens. Two brothers, they had the same parents. The parents, let's say, were drug addicts. One kid can become a drug addict. Another one can fight for addictions and never get close to a drug. So it's not truly what happened. It is how we are going to respond to it. But because we are so used to believing in luck, in the sign of the universe, putting ourselves in this victim position like we had no power, we believe that. We believe things don't happen through us, but things happen to us. And that's where we are mistaken. So, going back to what she's saying, how do I know if this is a sign of the universe, right? Or if that's me trying to control my life, meaning in her case, in the example I gave, she's trying and trying and trying to put that thesis to work, to give articles away. But at the same time, she doesn't know, because everything goes wrong, if the universe is actually telling her, don't go in that way. And that becomes the second question, which is, okay, but if I am forcing just because I want to control my life, how the law of manifestation will operate in my life if I don't know what I want? So now that we understand that somehow inside of us, we feel we are disconnected from our true power, okay, because we believe on all these things that I told you. And now we can agree. And then let's talk a little bit about the law of attraction. What is the law of attraction? The law of attraction says whatever you vibrate, the universe gives it back to you. The universe does not understand words. So if you're saying to yourself, I don't want to be poor, I don't want him to cheat on me. Do you know that the universe does not understand words? What are you vibrating in your fear? You are afraid that that will happen. So that means you are vibrating that low frequency, and the universe is going to manifest that in your life. So, why is the law of manifestation not working for you? Well, because imagine like the tug of war. In one hand, consciously, you want to go in that way. Consciously, you want to be abundant. Consciously, you want to have a healthy relationship. But what is stored in your unconscious? Which, by the way, is vibrating much more in your life than your consciousness. Because if you're accompanying my work, We know by now that our brain has the capacity to process 4 billion bits of information per second, but we are just conscious of 2000. So where does all the other information goes to? Our unconsciousness. Again, what we have in our unconsciousness, everything we lived in childhood, our fears, our traumas. And why do we have that? Well, we want to be alive, right? So what happens is your body, this part of you, is trying to protect you from not feeling pain. For example, when you were a kid, if you put your hand in the fire and you burned yourself, you got this information printed in your unconscious that is, don't put your hand in the fire. As of right now, you're not going to try that again. You already know you shouldn't do that. But you don't think consciously. You see a fire, oh, I should not put my hand in the fire. It's something you already know automatically, right? Great. You works for the fire. You works for me understanding I cannot feed a bear with my hands. But what about the trauma and the emotional pains that we felt? Well, if I felt my parents didn't give me enough attention, I'm gonna unconsciously be reproducing all of this in my adult life. I'm gonna be constantly looking for validation. I'm gonna be constantly looking for my value. If the other stays or not, I'm gonna be afraid of the other leaving. Okay, so it's so important for us to understand that for the law of manifestation to work in your life in the way you want to, because the law is working, you wanting or not, because your energy is like a magnet and it's gonna simply, it's just responding to what you are emanating. Okay, so how do we make the law of manifestation, of attraction works for us? We need to do the internal work. We need to understand and heal what it is in our unconsciousness. If not, we're going to keep in this tug of war. You wake up every day and you're like, I want to achieve this, I want that, I'm positive, this is going to go well. And then guess what? It doesn't work. Because truly, what you were vibrating is, I don't deserve that. I'm not good enough. So that's why it's so important for us to start removing these layers of illusions, removing these walls that we have created wrongly in order to protect ourselves. As of right now, that thing is not serving us good, right? So that's the first thing. So this is the reason why the law of attraction is manifesting what it is in your life. And this is a delicate topic because if you're not in this path for so long, every time I talk about the law of attraction, people come and say, "What about if you're saying that I create my reality? Do you think I have created my father raping me? Do you think I have created my parents being drunk and punching me?" So one thing, let's give one other step back. And the other step back I want to invite you to take is to ask yourself, what are you doing here? Who are you? If you see yourself as a soul, or whatever you want to call it, a spirit living, or a consciousness living temporarily in this body, this is a vehicle. This is going to perish. This is going to die. But my consciousness and who I am is not going to die, is eternal. So if you understand that, if you come from that, I'm energy, I have different possibilities, and so on. And then we're not getting to any specific religion and not even quantum physics. If you like, go check the lives. There's so many great free content for you here for you to explore that. But to keep basic, what happens is we understand our soul is here to evolve, and your soul will create situations and people in order that you theoretically have agreed already, because that those situations would help your soul to evolve. Ask yourself, why do you believe there are homeless people while there is billionaires? Let's take away all the unconscious of mankind. The reality as of right now is there are people that have a lot and people that have a little. Maybe I'm inviting you to think that maybe your soul, nothing is by chance, right? There is no coincidences. So we were not born in your family because you are unlucky or because you're lucky. You were born because in that place with those people, your soul had a better opportunity to learn the lessons it came to learn. So whenever you believe I'm manifesting bad things in my life, I'm not saying you're doing that consciously, but if you have the ability to tap into your true self, you will see that it's never what happened to you. It's how and which skills you're going to learn in order to be able to overcome whatever happened to you. And in this way, you keep evolving. And remember, evolution is not about a line that we cross, it's about keep spiraling up, is a movement. The only constant in life is change. And that's not different from us. Look at nature. Every time I'm confused about something, I look at nature and I'm like, how would nature respond to that? And then I start thinking about rivers, how the water flows, how the tree holds its fruits, how we let it go, how we let it die, and then it starts anew, and so on. This is something that helps me. So the point here is, okay, if we can agree, right, that the law of manifestation has to do with whatever our energy vibrates, we are able to leave that. And that's physics, that's not mysticism. Okay? That's proved by science. Whatever your energy, whatever your thought goes, energy flows. So the reason why your manifestations are not happening is, first of all, you're not doing the internal work in your unconsciousness. So you are in this tug war. There is also something that I like to call images that I have never spoke about it before here, but this I think is a good opportunity for me to start, which is some things that we believe as an absolute truth. For example, one image that a lot of people have: every man cheats. Another image that a lot of people have: in order for me to achieve something, I have to work really hard. By the way, this might be unconscious for you, but whatever you believe as an absolute truth is what you vibrate, is what vibrates in your quantum field. So, in the case of this woman, she already has linked her thesis into something that was hard for her. And she has this limiting belief that she shared with us, that she believes that in order for her to gain something or to be recognized or to deliver something to the world that has value, she has to work super hard. That's an image she has. And guess what? Maybe this has nothing to do with the sign of the universe or her trying to control her life. That just means that in her unconscious, she believes that. So she is vibrating all the difficulties she is gonna have. So the person she hired are gonna commit mistakes. Everything is gonna go wrong, like she says. My personal example: I have a thing with bureaucracy, and I know this forever. Literally, I laugh about this because at this point, because this already drove me nuts so many times that I was in the same question as her. Maybe this is the universe closing a door and I should just give up. No, but I want to stay. Whenever you are in there, I want to invite you to remember there is not right or wrong path. The universe is not trying to tell you this is the right path and this is the wrong path, because there is not a right path or a wrong path. Whatever path you decide to take, stay in the job or leave in the job, it's the same. How, Ella? Well, it is the same because your soul is going to have opportunities to evolve in whatever root causes it came to evolve, in this way or in that way. So if you decide to stay in that company, situations are going to happen and you're going to be invited to look into whatever lesson you're being invited to learn. In that situation, if you decide to leave and you go to another place, then you are also also going to be invited to learn the same lesson, but with different people in a different scenario. So the first thing that we should demystify is there is not right or wrong path first. So now that we know that, now that we know that also the law of attraction will work, right, towards whatever we are putting our energy, we have to understand one thing. We should close our eyes and ask ourselves, who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? Because if you are in any level unsatisfied with your life right now, romantically, financially, uh, whatever it is, in your work, that means that something inside of you, somehow you are not living authentically in that area of your life. That is telling you that you have a lot of resistances, that you have built so many walls. And that's why you're feeling unease, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling afraid. This is your ego. We have talked about it here a couple of times. So if something is not feeling good for you, the first step you should do is unconsciousness. How do I feel? What do I want to become? And whenever you figure out what you want to become, because whatever you can imagine, you can manifest. So now you know, I want to become whatever you want. In this case, let's go back to the example of our friend here. If she says, I want to become, so I want to be recognized by my crazy ideas in the fashion world because I am authentic, no one is talking about this. There's nothing wrong with you wanting anything, okay? You just have to know what you want. Now that you know that, you're going to have to work in everything that doesn't allow you to get there. First, we already figured out one image she has, which is everything has to be super hard before it gets easy. So she has to start working on her sense of deserving. Another option, okay, what is not allowing me to become that? Oh, wow, I don't like conflicts. So I want to please everyone. So, no, if you don't make peace that whatever you say is not going to please everyone, you're never going to be able to say everything that you believe, everything that you are. Because a lot of people are going to criticize you, are going to judge you. If this fear is stopping you to become that person that you want to become, here you go. One step back, let's do the internal work to clear whatever is in your unconsciousness. I hope you are understanding how is this all connected. Now let's go for the sign of the universe. It's so funny because like when I think about my trajectory, there was a time in my life that I was like looking literally, and it was even a joke for me because I'm like, okay, the tree fall, that's a sign that I have to go to Japan. And like my friends will look at me and come like, Ella, seriously? Where the hell did you come up with the falling tree? You're going to Japan. And I was looking for all these signs. I was opening my tarots every day. Should I go right? Should I go left? Until I started realizing that every time I was looking for the answer outside, the tarot would reply to me everything I wanted to hear. Everything my mind wanted to hear. Guess what? Wherever my mind goes, the energy flows. Get a pendulum. If you don't know um, how to create this space where your energy is not influencing the pendulum, you can try it out by yourself. Buy a pendulum. Now teach your pendulum. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but you teach the pendulum. Okay, show me your yes. Let's say the pendulum turns right. Show me your no. The pendulum turns back, turns the other way. And then you ask a question. The pendulum will answer whatever you want to. Because your energy is transmitting that to the pendulum. That is a magnet that is going to reply exactly to what you want to hear. So the signs of the universe is way ahead in this path because you have to have reached humility enough and for real, because we lie to ourselves not because we want to, but because we do that because of our fears, because of our walls, because of our ego, because of our anxieties and so on. So The sign of the universe is when you're so connected to your guides, to what you believe, to your higher self, that you have the humility to take a step back and say, I see my ego that wants to achieve all these things might be in between my communication with God, my communication with the universe, my communication with the source. So I ask your angels, your guides, please guide me in this situation. I'm going to follow your guide. However, you will know this, all these messages that we receive it clearly. We do receive it clearly. It's not something that, oh, the Bible fell. Does this mean yes or no? No. Whenever you start working and getting connected to your guides, you will hear clearly. You will know, and you're going to be like, that's what it is. Another thing that came up in this talk, which was, what I don't know if it is my intuition or if it is my fears, my mind telling me what to do. This is just a tip from my own experience. Usually, the intuition happens to you, that voice that tells you something. One, when you're not thinking about that, or like out of the blue, you wake up and you're like, you hear something, check out that message. Or you are here on your computer and then you're like, you think about your mom and she calls you right away. Or this is going to happen. It's usually when you're not thinking about that. If you're thinking a lot about that, most of the time, it's not an intuition. It is you putting all your fears into it, right? So I'm like, no, I'm afraid to change jobs. Should I change jobs? And then you keep looking for the signals. And then you turn a corner and it's like, look for your job. And then you turn another corner and you receive a message on the phone, stay in your job. And you're super confused, right? So my invitation is stop looking for the signs of the universe. Because remember, the power is not in the universe, it's inside of you. However, you can ask guidance from the universe, angels, your true self. However, this takes deep connection and deep prayer. And you have to be alert to hear your intuition. Because if you have an intuition, you follow it, and you see, let's say this intuition is leading you, it tells you something bad. You have the free will and the willpower to change that. In the case of this girl, she literally explained in this, she's like, I trusted that the guy would do a nice work reproducing my article. But then 6 in the morning, I woke up out of the blue and I thought, he's gonna make more than 8 pages. And she said, I woke up, got my phone, and read our messages. And then I'm like, oh no, I explained it to him. That was up to 8 pages. Okay, so this is just me being worried. She went back to sleep. Guess what? As soon as she looked at it, when the guy returned it to her, he had more than 8 pages. So she was confused. Was this my intuition? Is my worry? So we have to start practicing that to understand, because in that moment that she, out of the blue, she was sleeping, and out of the blue, she got it. Like, I, the guy is gonna do more than 8 pages. In that moment, she could have sent him a message, just reminding you it cannot be more than 8 pages. Now, if she kept there, that would be her mind and her fears and her not trust. And probably she would manifest that. So it's also how you deal with your intuition afterwards. Right? So I guess these were so crazy, because that talk was like so much we were putting the things, but I guess I was able to actually bring you guys the point that I wanted to say, which is basically, first, remember, there is no right or wrong path. Yourself, your consciousness will be able to evolve and achieve and fulfill, is going to have the opportunity to fulfill its purpose, its evolutionary purpose, in whatever path you decide to take. Okay? The universe can give you sign when you are actually really connected and you ask for help. However, every time you're looking outside for answers, remember, do the internal work. First thing you have to understand is who is this person that I want to become? Because if I want to become something different than I am today, is because somewhere inside of me today, I'm not being authentic in that area of my life. So, how it is to feel authentic in the area of my life? Because only you can be that person. By the way, if you're getting a little bit confused about admiration and comparison, I invite you to watch the talk about true freedom, where we went really deep into this talk. So for today, to close up, is figure out who is that person that you already are. The law of attraction is just waiting you to decide to manifest that person in your life, because you already are. If you're capable of imagining, you already are that person. So decide who that person is. And then look with the internal work, with the journey to the true self, to understand what are all these walls and limiting beliefs and ego and images and inner child pains that you have inside that are actually making you stay apart from this person who you have 100% the capacity to be. Whenever you start clearing this, guess what? You start vibrating differently. You start vibrating higher. And when you vibrate higher, manifestation responds to that. So instead of you asking for the sign of the universe every day, try to follow these steps that I gave you here in this talk. And then please share with me if it made sense, if it's clear, if you have any doubt, if you have felt like that somewhere in your life. And I truly believe that if this talk have gave you any insight, go right now and hear the talk about the true freedom, because that's going to be a really nice addition to this talk. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to see you next Tuesday. And that's it. Have a great weekend.